How you doing? It's Look. I just quit my 9 to 5 job to go full time on YouTube, and we're going to do a full daily update every single day to cover kind of where we are and what we're doing. So we have here my daily channel. We've got one whole view in the past day, which is brilliant. um, but long and short of it, if you don't know where you are or what's going on, basically I used to have a job. I was a cloud engineer until like a week ago when I decided to go full time on YouTube because my AI look channel was blowing up enough money for me to go full time on it. And I'm going to leverage the sponsors on this to then turn and create a new Lookburn Systems channel, which then funnels into a community or platform for YouTube solopreneurs. So we've had a bit of a kind of a developmental advancement and that today, this YouTuber systems. Let's keep that, get rid of everything else. And I'm talking nice and quietly because it is bedtime and I've got two little kids and a wife who watches them, so, or a partner. What's my 100%? Oh no, it's too big, too low. Right, anyway, so I wait if I zoom, there we go, 100%. YouTuber systems. So last time when we spoke, my thinking from here was essentially for this to become a like a community for YouTube systems and to host them there. We've had a little bit of an advancement since then. So originally it was basically we're going to have any end stuff, and let me get a little stroke. We're going to do any end videos basically and show you how to do stuff for like thumbnails, design, for description generation, etc. Right? Now, the cool thing here is that it's all fully automated using Any10, but the problem that I've kind of run into is it feels disingenuous because although I use them sometimes, and I have used them in the past, I don't always use them for two reasons. Number one is that they take too long normally to create. Never mind set up, but to actually make them, and you make them, you need to maintain them and stuff, and I just never felt that incentivized to do so because I had another job, so automating these kind of things wasn't at the top of my list. It was just making the video and getting it out and, you know, doing the thumbnail in the moment. And then also there's other AI tools that kind of do them, and you, or at least parts of them. So what I'm kind of finding out as I lean more into this is like Any10, I think I did talk about it yesterday, will take you like 90% of the way there. But then this other 10% is kind of this hybridization approach with the AI, where you're required to do some stuff. And I think this is the winning solution, is this hybridization approach. So what we're going to do is then, we're going to do this kind of hybrid approach. I'll go show you. We have on Circle, so if you go to YouTuber systems.ai, this will then take you to the new Circle. Here we go. Ba-ba-ba-ba-bam. We're kind of looking at price points and stuff. I'll get into that in a minute. You can see on the left here, it looks so much better than like AI Pro. So this is Skool. This is what Skool looks like when you join. This is what Circle looks like when you join. I still have a soft spot for Skool. I know how it works. I do kind of like it, but I think this just looks 100 times better. So anyway, we have this kind of stuff where basically we're just going to have proper streamlined, only what you need to know. So we have kind of honed it in to be less of a course and more of a platform. So the idea is kind of this. We have this YouTuber system, right? And we are going to have this as like any N hybrid things. And then the value proposition is like, you're going to get these to save you time straight away. I'll show you how to set them up. If you can't get them set up in like 48 hours or 24 hours or something, I'll help you. That's the kind of value proposition. So we'll do one-to-one. Now, as this develops over time, the idea will probably be something more like these Any ones can kind of converge into a kind of SaaS. We can maybe look at that in the background, and then the one-to-one will become like, you know, one-to-many, and or community will start helping each other is the idea. But the thing with Skool is that Skool kind of leans into this idea of having like thousands of members, and that's the reason people like blowing up, especially these like AI agency channels, because everyone wants to make a bunch of money on agency stuff. So if you go, let me see, where's the ones that I see, like I mean all of them, but AI Automation Society, for example, and then it has upgraded to Plus, and this Plus one is like teaching you how to make an AI agency. And most people are kind of doing that AI agency thing. You can see the price tag is almost $100. Not all of the members are at that. Some of them will be away down at like $40, and maybe most of them, if they're doing the deals on whatever, doesn't matter. But basically, that just goes up and up and up across time, and so do their members, and so it ends up just being like this really expensive course. Well, it's not expensive compared to what it used to be a couple like 5 years ago. They'd be like $2,000 for a course, but they become like a really expensive way to just be part of like Facebook, because like 3,500 members is nuts. You're not talking. I can't say firsthand because I haven't joined, but when I see that, I don't want to join. It doesn't make me want to join. Whereas when there's even 1,000 people, maybe when there's a couple of hundred, maybe like 150 is like nice. 100's a kind of nice number. So anyway, if we go back to like Excalibur, so we have here in Skool it's always thousands of people, and thousands of people when you end up having them at like $40 a month, say, like that ends up being like 40 grand a month. And I know you'll get YouTube guys like even him, where it's like they're making apparently £250,000 or dollars, so 250k a month, which is absolutely bananas. But even 40k a month is pretty mental amount of money. I mean, I don't know anyone who makes that amount of money in real life. Almost $500,000. Nah, that's crazy. But anyway, but the thing here is that I struggle with that value sell. So instead, I'm thinking that if I go to Circle, it's going to feel more personal. And I think that honestly, this personal thing is a weird one. So when you work, I've always wanted to make money online, and it's always been like this weird anonymous thing. And when you're anonymous, you have this ability where you don't really want to talk to people or see people kind of really, not really. You don't have that accountability as such. But that personal touch. But what I'm finding is that personal touch and that accountability is what's required for you to make real money, really, because this is the value that people want. So, for example, I was thinking, I'll make an AI agency that I can just send emails, never have to talk to anyone, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I can become the AI guy in my local like city or kind of town. And then you start thinking, I'd need to talk to people about it. And then if their systems break, then you're accountable. And then you start to realise, right, that's where the money is. That's where the value is. And I was a senior cloud engineer, doing consulting for migrations and stuff. So I have had the accountability on, large scale projects before. But just the idea of doing it for like a side business that you've not done before, where there's not a lead above you or a manager or whatever, is a bit intimidating. So anyway, so I've kind of come to terms with that idea and thought, right, that makes sense now. So because it's all a learning journey, this whole thing. Anyway, so we're going to make it more personal, I think. So really, the goal would be to like have 100 active members at one time, probably, or at least the goal is, if it's going to go like this, that like this will be like personal, and then after this it will be like community driven, and there'll be some little gap in the middle where it's like both. Because I could see a world where we have all these end-to-end templates and all this SaaS stuff for AI YouTubers who want to automate things, save time, and you could just have this as like a self-service thing, and that'd be thousands of people. But for community and whatever, it's maybe looking at like 100, whereas less than that, you're probably looking at more of a personal touch of like, let me show you how this works. And the good thing here is this is how you can then enhance your skills down here, and then as your skills get enhanced, you can then productize things, and then that's how it can scale in that fashion. Anyway, so we're thinking more of making it like a suite, so like a suite of tools. So having things that are maintained, because I noticed making, for example, Twitter agent and stuff like that, thumbnail agent, is that you have to keep them up to date with what's latest. I mean, you're doing like any end tutorials all the time. You end up falling into this place where you making all this stuff that's kind of irrelevant. So this is how to make video ads on autopilot, and then you never touch it again. Whereas I always felt like I just want a curated, less than a dozen that I always make sure work and sell those. But then I'd always wonder, well, why would anyone stay? But I suppose it's to make sure that they always work. And in any case, let's get numbers through the door and then we can worry about it. So a suite of tools is the idea. And so you come in, I'll help you get one sorted out the gate. Then you can go on and use the rest. And then across time, we're wanting to turn this into basically self-serve in some more traditional, SaaS-y type of sense. And although this may not sound like much of a difference, it's a fundamental difference in how I view the company, which is super important. I've just realised I've done this whole video and I'm wearing my hoodie because it's bedtime, and it's freezing here. It's actually roasting, but it's cold tonight. So yeah, it fundamentally changes how you think about your company, which is the most important thing, is how you understand the information. So you can write a tagline all you want, but if it doesn't feel like it's coming from the heart, for a better phrase, then it's kind of fraudulent in a sense. So fundamentally changes everything, because now instead of looking at like a little community of people who are all like into AI, who are YouTubers, try to use AI, this kind of generic-y thing, we're looking at more like me. So do me as Baldy. Another normal stickman. Me plus someone's business equals success. And we just want to replicate this as much as possible. Because at the beginning, the other business that I'll be running these on is my own business. So enhancing ones that I already use and using ones that I've already built. So things that I've built and used maybe once or twice, because I then moved on because I didn't want to maintain it, because I wanted to move to the next shiny object. But eventually you get to the point where you're running out of shiny objects, or it's just kind of soul destroying to continually look for shiny objects all the time. So we want to then scale that up. So that's the fundamental difference of how we're looking at stuff now, is a suite of tools to save you time to become a full-time YouTuber. But yeah, so there's that. And then there's how things, sponsored videos and that, are still coming through as they do. And the other AI videos are looking cool. Like the AI updates look cool, but I haven't really touched them too much. I want to look at anti-gravity, so Google anti-gravity, because I haven't even really had a look at it yet. But the weird thing, man, and I don't know how to handle it really, but I kind of do, is that like Google anti-gravity, all the Google stuff, it's like Google is just taking everything. So you will like say, for example, HeyGen, right? So it's like a video generator. So you're using HeyGen, and then suddenly Google's like, nah, don't worry about it, mate. You can just use Google's one. And so now HeyGen are like, what are we supposed to do? So that's the same thing. Get it with loads of stuff. And with this, it's an example where it's like, if everyone can make their own SaaS, then why would anyone buy your SaaS? Which is a fundamental question with this AI stuff. But what I see it continually coming back around to is this idea of like user, I suppose it's not UI really, it's user experience for a specific persona or a specific avatar. Also like specific styles. Then also branding all matter. So these all matter immensely. So although you have multiple things that are basically the same, people will pick different ones based on this type of stuff, based on the UX and branding, really, is what I notice. But also even just the product itself, they're always going to be slightly different. So I don't actually worry that much about that side of things, but I worry more about the idea of what my worth would be if any end, for instance, was redundant. But I suppose now I have to speak it out loud. It makes sense where if any end becomes redundant and everybody's using anti-gravity for everything, then you just become that's like the YouTuber system, is just use anti-gravity and just show how to use that really well. So I mean, you need to be kind of tool agnostic really. So I think that'll be the takeaway today, I suppose, is to be tool agnostic as well as outcome driven. But I had one more thing I was going to say. What was it? Outcome. Hopefully you can't hear the clicking because it's clicky, click, click, click. Oh, something cool. Tomorrow I have a little writing pad coming, so I don't have to use my mouse for all this writing. I can use a little notepad, which will be connected to my MacBook and up here, which is pretty cool. What was the other thing? Oh yeah, the other thing too was this community thing. So the Skool as well. The problem with this is when you have an entire community and it's one guy, and then it's you, and you're like, "Hello everybody, happy Monday. What are you working on?" And this little guy's just like radio silent, and then suddenly it's like you have a community with 2 members, and you're one of them. What are you gonna do now? Nothing. You're just stuck. So that's the kind of, if you go for a community first approach, I think it's harder. It's a harder pill to swallow at the first. Whereas see, like at the beginning here with this suite of tools, I mean, if I just have one customer and I'm working with them, that's fine. It's not community first, it's community second, but it's outcome first. And the outcome is saving you time. And the community aspect just comes from, if multiple people are working on the same thing. Anyway, so that's kind of what we're going to talk about today. That's enough. Hope you have a good day. I'll see you in the next one. It is Tuesday, 13th of January 2026. Subs wise, same as yesterday, pretty much, which is like 5 on this daily channel, 5 on the other one, and how much on AI Look? 29.6. What were we yesterday? 29.3, something like that. Don't know. So that one's coming on pretty cool. But yeah. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, like, comment, subscribe. See you in the next one. Bye bye.